This is the Tom Bigby Tales, and I'm your host, Shannon Evans. I write about a small town in northeast Mississippi on the Tom Bigby River called Columbus. Sometimes I write about the rest of the state. This episode is about Neill James, a Mississippi author. Neill James was born in 1895 to Charlie and Willie James. She was one of 7 children. Her parents died when she was still quite young and left her and her siblings with a sizable inheritance. Neill then went on to attend Mississippi Industrial Institute and College, graduating in 1918 with a degree in journalism. With her extensive background in stenography that was required in her program, she landed jobs with the State Department and the U.S. War Department in Washington, D.C., and later Washington State. She would be on the staff of the U.S. Embassy in Tokyo from 1924 to 1927, and then Berlin in 1928 to 1929. She would base her Petticoat Vagabond series that she begins writing in the late 1930s and early 1940s on her adventures with the embassy. She then moves to New York briefly before moving to Hawaii and having a romantic involvement with fellow journalist Geraldine Sartain. This romance ended with Neill's assignment to Tokyo. They reconnected again when she was in Berlin via a side trip to China and India. It is believed that Neill, at that time, was also an operative, aka a spy, a soft spy, for the U.S., as she often traveled with fake passports. In 1943, Neill decided to visit Mexico and was hiking down from the summit of Popocatépetl when she was injured. She recovers, but then she goes on and was on Volcan de Paracutlán in Michoacán when she was nearly fatally injured. She was taken down to the village of Ajijic by Lake Chapala for a year of bed rest to recuperate. She fell in love with the beautiful Mexican village and the people that lived there. It was during this time she would compile her notes, her diaries, and journals that she turns into the popular Petticoat Vagabond series that would be published by Scribner's. Her books were incredibly popular and attracted other writers to Ajijic, thus making the sleepy fishing village into an international center for the arts. It also brought a boom of prosperity to the community. This attracted not only writers, but painters and musicians. Neill was known locally as a philanthropist, and the last years of her life, as her health declined, she donated her home and all her gardens, or rather, her sister did it for her, as she was in both physical and mental decline, to the Lake Chapala Society, with the caveat that as long as she lived, they would care for her the remainder of her life. She would live there until her death in 1994. For her books, she was twice installed in the Hall of Fame in Literature. She was also selected for the American Biographical Society and earned over 40 major accolades for her contributions to the world of fine arts as well. In Ajijic, she is still respected for the beautiful garden on Lake Chapala, a public library she donated, and the children's art programs that she underwrote, and the local weaving and embroidery industries that she helped to start there. Neill James was an extraordinary lady and a true W girl. The bulk of my research that was done is based on a novel by Stephen Preston Banks, who spent over a year researching Neill James's life, and he published it in the book Kokio, a novel based on the life of Neill James. Thank you for coming on my episode of the Tom Bigby Tales. Until next time.